Hello, everyone. This is Scooby.
And this is Steven. Welcome back to another episode of The Feedback. We are a couple of guys that like to talk about music, show it to each other, a new song, a new artist, and then we also like to share it with other people as well. And we like to, lately, we've been on a nice kick of just surprising the other person with what song it's going to be and kind of getting their reaction based completely off of that. So this way it's a little more fun for ourselves and then also you if you're listening.
That is correct. So today I will be presenting our topic song, if that's how we want to refer to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sure, why not, right?
Yeah, it's the topic of the day. Why not?
Yeah. So I have chosen a song by an artist named Jakub Zytecki.
Never heard.
He is Polish, so I wouldn't have known. I looked that up because I was like, Zytecki, I have no idea what nationality that would be. So he actually rose to quote unquote fame. Like, I don't think he is by any means a mainstream name, but he's gaining traction. He was formerly in a band called Disperse. He left that band 6 years ago and struck out doing solo work, which I've never really listened to Disperse, but one of my friends recommends them, so one of these days I'll probably check them out.
What kind of music is Disperse?
Disperse is progressive metal.
Okay.
And I would also say that Jacob's solo work is progressive metal as well.
Okay.
But, I mean, in terms of how I would describe it personally, I think the words I use are instrumental. Not all songs. This particular song is instrumental. He does sing in some of his tracks. It has djent leanings for sure. Djent. It is progressive, but a word that I really like to use to describe his music is atmospheric.
Okay. I'm very interested to kind of see where this is going to lead to. It might be a little more reminiscent, not exactly, but of our episode with Krungben, where it has that atmospheric kind of song to it, but obviously a different style of atmospheric music.
Yes. So the track I've chosen is called Wait. It is off his 2023 album Remind Me.
Fairly recent.
The song was written, mixed, and composed by Jakub himself, so he did most of the work on this track. The performers on this are, of course, Jakub Zytecki on guitar. I'm probably going to butcher these names. They're Polish. So Michał Sarapada on bass and Joseph Rusanowski on drums. It's a three-piece.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that's all the information I have. Do you have anything that you would like to bring up before we get it started?
I was going to say, so he would write all these things, and then he would make sure that the fellow members came in later and performed the way he wanted it to?
That I'm not exactly sure on. I don't have clarification on that, but I do know that he is a very accomplished musician, so it's entirely possible. I have been in that position myself. I don't like doing that. Or if I have been in that position, I'll be like, this is what my idea was for this, and I want you to take it and make it your own. I think a lot of musicians are more like that, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say like exactly what you just said there. Sorry for trying to almost cutting you off there. Was like what would make that decision happen? Like if rather than you playing the bass yourself and the guitar and the drums if you could, versus knowing like your strong suit is here, so you want to focus on that and you want to find somebody else that's a much better bassist / drummer or whatever the case might be and have them do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, especially for me, drums are like, I can do a basic beat.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
So I would be like, yeah, you know that thing where you're trying to describe how drums are and you're like, just be like, dooka, 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 dooka. And it's like, I feel silly, but I think you know what I mean.
Yes. No, I know exactly what you're trying to say there. And you're trying to like, I want to hear ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. And you're like, okay, but I can't add those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I can see that for sure. That's pretty neat too. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to hear this.
Also to note, he does play an 8-string guitar.
Interesting.
When I went to visit one of my friends a couple weeks ago, my buddy has an 8-string guitar, and I held it, and I was like, what the hell? What is this? What am I supposed to do with this?
Are they lower pitch or higher? Like are they thicker gauge or thinner gauge strings? that are
thicker,
thinner.
So it's a low end for sure.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Is that typically the way it would go? Is it just keep getting higher or thinner gauged wire?
Going up doesn't really work because the strings would just be way too thin.
Gotcha.
So I know, like, not to get super off topic, but when I worked in a music store and I had to tune the guitar wall, 12 strings, the G string on the 12 string, the upper octave one, was so thin that it would typically snap quite a bit. And then the E and B strings were just the same gauge as the normal.
Okay.
So.
Cool. All right.
All right, so this is Wait by Jakub Zytecki. Here we go.
So yeah, that was really good. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I say that openly because there's times where like progressive metal and then like all these different terms that do come out for every single genre that does exist, kind of it can kind of get mucky in my opinion because I don't entirely know what those little influential little things mean when it goes to change it. Like even in the sense of like emo versus Midwest emo, like I don't know how to describe the difference between the two, but I can tell you the two very differently when I'm listening to it. So like
Yeah.
progressive metal, like I was like, okay, I can hear this at the beginning, and it was very like there was like the melodic parts at the beginning, and it was like, okay, I really like the way this plays out. This is really nice and soft, but like he described progressive metal. Where's that part of it? And then I heard it, and I was like, oh, very cool. Okay, so I liked the way it kind of had a slow build. It almost has I don't want to put it into those categories because I don't know where it all falls into, but it kind of plays nice with last week's episode or last time's episode when we were doing a little bit of like a swancore song where it kind of has that to it where like there's the softer parts, the beautifully written parts to put it nicely, and then it gets into like a not just like a open palm chugs for the breakdown kind of heavy part, but it's still like it had nice flow to it. There was good music quality to there too, especially with the addition of the bassist playing the keyboard in between the two, which I thought was really cool to show in the music video as well. That it gives that more of like a that airy vibe to this song, where it's not just like straight grungy, right?
Right. Yeah. So I think what I like most about this song is the use of space and dynamics. Like, it just feels like a big song.
Yeah,
Like, that's really the only way that I can think of to describe it. It feels like they play with space so much that it's quiet and then loud and quiet and loud, and that sort of building, which, as a huge fan of post rock, bands like Explosions in the Sky and Godspeed You Black Emperor, that's something that I gravitate towards in music, just in general. And, you know, as we're doing this as an audio medium, you and I were also watching the music video, but I don't like using this word a lot because it feels kind of memey, but it's very aesthetic.
no, I agree with you, and I was gonna say it definitely it looked exactly how the song sounded, which is
Yeah.
weird to say it because like you're watching it and you're like, and I do encourage anytime that we do this, like Scoops just mentioned. First of all, I said doo doo. Second of all, um, we do use the music video to share it with each other because it does add that extra level of involvement and interest to that song because they did the work to make this music video. Why not give it the respect that it deserves and watch it? I encourage you to either watch it while you're listening or watch it later on when you hear it because you want to see us talk, see what we're talking about because it is like that song just felt like it you were in a forest kind of just hanging out whatever listening to some metal like that legitimately like if and I like all different kinds of music and if I would be in the middle of the woods on a road trip somewhere I might go from Fleet Foxes to Parkway Drive and that's what that just sounded like in a nutshell like
Yeah.
like if you took a 30-minute drive and you took the last song from one feeling and the first song from the next feeling of that playlist that I made, that's what that would have been right there.
Yeah.
And I like that, and it shows that too. Like they're for those of you that haven't seen it yet, they're on a bridge, and it's very it's smoky and airy. It's that feeling is blowing around. You can kind of see the movement going on. You can see the way that he feels while playing the song, which is exactly kind of how you like I feel anyway, and I feel you should feel too when you're listening to this. Kind of like that, like you feel that build up, and then like Scoops was saying, there's the soft parts and the loud parts at the same time, but or they're both happening rather, but there's also times where they're happening at the same time is what I wanted to highlight because there's that part where it gets that kind of heavy. There's still some soft parts going on underneath there, and it's pretty much just that same chord progression just brought up a little bit so it sounds a little heavier. It's not it's still there and you should still hear it, and that's where like he has like this frustration on his face almost like whatever this beautiful thing was is now marred, or it's frustrating him because something's not right, or he got agitated because something's like, say you're out in the middle of the woods and you see somebody left garbage, that pissed me off. Then maybe that's what that feeling was. Like he's out there enjoying open space, and then somebody that came here before him decided to leave their fast food garbage all over the trees, and it's ruining the ecosystem. Like that would frustrate the heck out of me too. But yeah, like it's funny to say it in that way because like it's trying to be aggressive, but also if you listen to it and watch it, you see that it's maybe not the most mean place. Right?
Yeah. So the other thing that I find super interesting is to go back to the topic of dynamics. It's almost very stop start. There are those moments that we've talked about where the song really does build, but it's almost like there's maybe a false climax.
Yeah.
Where he's doing his tippy tappies, and you can feel the drum starting to build and the bass starting to build, and then it cuts, and it goes back to that single snare hit that with the reverb that just fills the room again.
Yeah.
And it's that sense of anticipation that you're waiting for, and you're like, oh, hey.
Not nice.
And then when that moment comes to fruition later on in the song, it's almost more satisfying because it's something that you were waiting for from earlier.
No, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, I would like that. I was looking for it, right? That's the first thing I said. Like,
right.
You said there was metal, and I'm like, where is there metal? Where is it coming? When will it be here? I should hear that, shouldn't I? And then when I got to the point, just like you said, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, yeah, all right. I'm glad I waited.
Yeah,
It's a welcome surprise. I think that is that like a characteristic that happens traditionally, or is this his play on it, or is that his play on this song?
that sort of stop start feel.
Just as someone who's more familiar with that genre of music, and then potentially, I don't know. You said you didn't really know much about this person, right? Or was it the band?
It was the band that he was in prior to his solo career. So I've listened to a decent amount of his solo work, and I greatly enjoy it. I think that this song in particular is the one that makes greatest use of that start-stop dynamic.
Okay.
There are some elements of it in other songs, but I feel a lot of his work is, just like in this song, almost subversing expectations. I don't know if that's the right word, subversing. Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
But, so there's another song, I think it's called RAUM, it's just RAUM. It's got lyrics, but there's a point in the song where it's the bridge, and you're kind of expecting, like, in this song, that sort of heavier moment, that sort of heavier breakdown almost to come. And he just does this thing where he just vibes on, like, the low H string and just does, like, this chill strumming pattern. And you're like, I didn't think that would work, but it works really well.
That's awesome. I like when something like that happens, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, where you're, like, expecting one thing to happen and something else does. And instead of being like, well, that's not what I wanted, you're like, well, it's not really what I wanted, but I kind of like this more.
Yeah. Like, hey, clearly they knew what they were doing here because you tricked me and you got me in because I like it. I think that's like a good sign of like of an artist that either has a really good song or at least a really good touch on music, because if they can do that progressively in multiple songs, and that really goes like, hey, that's what they're building for, to get that suspense. And they're doing a damn good job at it. So, like, kudos to you. But yeah, like, I think in the right place, that's perfect. Like, there's certain genres that need that. This is one that I think it works really well in, especially for their style of play.
Yeah, agreed. And this song has been in heavy rotation for me, like, ever since it came out. A lot, I do this thing where, I mean, for sure, but I post a song of the day pretty much every day. But a lot of times, people, will ask for, hey, like music recommendations. Like I kind of want to check out some new stuff. Like this song is always a go-to for me where I'm like, you should check this out. Even if it's not your normal style, I feel like it's something that a lot of people can sink their teeth into, even if they don't like instrumental music too.
Yeah, when you said instrumental at first too, that's always something that it's one of those things where if it's not well done, you're waiting to see how long the song's gonna be because you're like, man, how much longer can this really go on for? But for this song, which you all now know, it's about 4.5 minutes, and it doesn't feel like that. There's never a point where I'm just like, and I mean, granted, if it wasn't a good song, it would have felt that way the whole time. I've been like, yeah, I hated it. I don't know why. I don't know why we're here today. but
Yeah.
but thankfully that's not the case. We're doing pretty good at that so far. Yeah, and the instrumental part for me was something that when you mentioned it, it definitely got me worried at first, and that's because like jam bands kind of throw me off of the instrumental vibe because I feel like that can you please just end? But thankfully, like
Yeah.
this wasn't that at all because of that building and that the way that it had that progressive feel that whole time to get to that point. And I loved it. I love that it had enough to like you don't need words for this song, right? I think that's the biggest to take away
Yes.
from that. You don't need the words for this song to really hit and make you want to look into his music, which is why like I can see the reason why you would pick this song and from him
Yeah.
because that's where I
I
am.
think.
I want to look into more
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely give you some recommendations,
Absolutely.
or you can just go off on your
I was
own.
gonna say I'll just go off on a tangent later.
I know that for me, especially as a musician, I am just utter garbage at writing lyrics. And it's not even so much writing lyrics, it's that I can't ever really get a vocal melody in my head. So when I write music, which is more rare these days, I try to make the instrumentals strong enough that I think someone could listen to it and be like, this doesn't need lyrics. Obviously, having been in bands where I was writing music specifically to have lyrics, it's a very kind of different vibe because it's like I don't want the instrumentals to take the forefront because that's what lyrics are for in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're writing without having lyrics or a vocal melody in line, it kind of frees you up to do a little bit more or maybe experiment more.
Yeah.
But it's just something I identify with. Like, I listen to a lot of instrumental music. And earlier in my life, it was stuff like, shredding guitar, like
Mm-hmm.
a Joe Satriani or a Steve Vai or artists like that, Buckethead.
Okay.
And I still appreciate their talent for sure. And even there are modern bands nowadays. Everyone loves Polyphia. And for the most part, they're instrumental. They have some vocal features, but primarily they're just writing music that is what ADHD sounds like, which is why it tickles my brain so much. Like,
I have to write this one down.
some people get upset about that, and they're like, "Oh God, like it's all over the place and this, that." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's why I love it. It tickles that part of my brain that is like, oh yeah, like this is all over the place, and I dig it so much
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean sometimes you need that overstimulation to bring your brain back down again.
yeah. I think this is probably something you've experienced as we're both ADHD as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need different music for different things.
Absolutely.
Earlier today, I was cleaning the kitchen after making dinner, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to this album called, well, I don't remember what it's called, but what it is jazz covers of music from The Legend of Zelda.
Awesome.
And I was like, you know what? This is just going to like calm me down, and I'll feel good when I'm washing the dishes
Yeah.
and putting everything away.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Sorry if I'm cutting you off, but I'm a huge fan of that that I don't know if that's considered a genre or that style of music lately, but there was a time where I briefly was considering becoming a streamer for video games, and the one thing that I wanted to do was not have to worry about what songs I was picking to make sure I wasn't scaring people away. I wanted to bring gamers in. So I found a playlist on a streaming website that was lo-fi covers of Zelda music and other video game music. So this way people would come in,
Yeah.
it would ring it would spark that like, oh God, I know the song. What's this from? It'll start a conversation in chat. It'll make people want to hang out because it's a different form of it. I love that. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
And to find a jazz version of it, that's great because jazz music's going to give you that, okay, I want to get stuff done. Yeah, and I like this song because it's going to give you that familiarity. But the instrumental version of it, you don't have to focus on anything else except the dishes.
Yes. And, for me, I need that background noise almost consistently for, like, I don't even go to sleep in silence.
Yeah.
I have YouTube playing in the background, but, like, if I'm going to read a book and I want background noise, I can't have lyrics.
Right.
Because then I'm going to start listening to the lyrics and conflating it with what I'm reading, and that just doesn't work.
Yes, it never works that way, and I'm always the same way. I'm trying to explain that to my kid now, because he's the same way. He's like, Dad, I need to have the TV on. I'm like, you don't need the TV on while it's on because you're not going to give 100% attention to something. You're either going to give like 30% to the TV show and 40% to the book, and then the other 30% is off in make-believe land because he too is ADHD. Because surprise, family of ADHD has an ADHD kid. Ugh, an ADHD kid. Words. Anyway, while we're on topic of that, don't shame mental things that are going on. If you're not sure what's happening, seek help.
Hell no. I'm going to see a psychiatrist next week. I'm stoked. I'm hoping they'll help me figure some stuff out.
And I mean, hey, I hope it helps you out too. I know you went through a world of other things as well before it led to this point, and I commend you for that because that's not easy to have to start doing, and especially from, where the society was not so long ago where men don't have feelings and suck it up buttercup was a common phrase. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to get locked in on that too hard, but yes, if you're feeling a type of way, don't ever think that you can't find help. Talk to somebody. Doesn't always have to be a professional. It could be a friend. If it doesn't want to be a friend or a family member because of the way that you feel about that sort of topic, then yeah, go find something. Go find someone different. A lot of states have hotlines. If you need those sort of things, we can find those numbers. But yeah, don't ever shy away from that sort of thing. Mental health is a real thing. Get yourself checked out. Talk to somebody. Don't feel like you're alone, because you don't have to be.
I don't have anything else to add to that statement except, yes, I agree. Very well said.
Back on topic, though, real fast. So, yes, instrumental music 100% has its place. I think that it's a good thing that we talked about it today in a very different form because opening the mindset to thinking about it in other ways. Because I didn't think about the lo-fi versions of those songs being instrumental, even though they very much are.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I think, a genre of music where a lot of people just put jam bands into because that just sounds like that's what it is, but jam bands are their own thing too, and if you're gonna dislike a certain kind of music because of that, then make sure you stick to that certain kind of music and the reasons why, but don't just clump it into all that sort of stuff, which is I'm saying as a person who did it and trying to get better at it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like you said, I'm not huge into jam bands either. There's a couple songs here and there that I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
For my part, I don't want to make any promises or guarantees, but I will probably be bringing a lot of instrumental tracks to the table as we continue this journey.
I think that's what's fun about it, though, is that's the whole reason, right? I'm going to bring in some stuff that you might not listen to regularly, but definitely know about, and then you're going to bring in stuff that I may have never even considered listening to before, or even the same for you. But yeah, either way, that's the big fun part about what we're doing here is trying to, see how we can relate to other things that we've listened to in the past and build new fandoms for music, because that's something I fall into a hole with. Like, I'll listen to the song, like you mentioned before, the Song of Day that you posted. I will listen to that song, and that'll be the first time that I've listened to something completely different and ever. And I might want to listen to more of it, but I'll forget to. But because the one thing that I've been forcing myself to do is click on the link to get to the video to make sure I find the right song, but then listening to it on my preferred streaming platform. and making sure that it becomes a part of my regular listen to songs. So this way it can start to pepper itself in regularly to other music that I listen to. And then it's going to start to
Yeah.
build my profile up a little bit more and kind of add in that in more so I can start to find more music that I like. And because it's on there, I'll click on it and I'll go through and I'll find that person and I'll go more artists like them and I'll start listening to just that. And I'll get into like another fixation hole where I'll just listen to just that for a long time. It'll be fun. I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
For sure.
Yeah, so this one's definitely a fun one.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, in terms of getting locked into songs or whatever, like right now I'm totally locked into Midwest emo again, and like discovering a lot of new bands, like bands that have just been putting out music in these past couple of years, because I have a tendency to just fall back on the old stuff that I listened to, and I'm like, there's gotta be bands that are doing this right now, and I want to hear what they sound like and what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree completely. And I was just thinking that myself today as I was listening to what song? I can't even remember what song I was listening to. Oh, I was listening to a Dance Gavin Dance song. I was listening to Lemon Meringue Tie. I was listening to that on my way home just because I was in the mood for it, and I was listening to them yesterday actually too because I have a problem. Um, DGD Anonymous. But no, I was listening to them on my way home today from the store, and I was thinking to myself, like, I need to stop listening to the old stuff that I listen to so much and kind of put that back away for a little while and come back to it again later because I've been listening to a lot of the same stuff and I'm trying not to do that. Even if it's something like you said, this song came out in 2023, so it's new. It's not this year new, but it's new compared to what I've been listening to, and it's definitely something that I'll listen to his older stuff as well, which I think is a lot of fun. And we talked about that when we talked about AFI. It's a lot of fun, like going backwards sometimes to see where they were and where
Yeah.
versus where you knew them at, and then also checking to see where they are now versus where you knew them at. Because I think we talked about that too with A Day to Remember when we were listening to AFI, and I've actually been listening to their entire catalog because I was curious and I wanted to see how it holds up from beginning to end. When I get to the end, I kind of stop listening to the songs and I get over it a little bit faster. But I hear myself listening to the first album that I listened to when they first came out, and I'm like, man, I can't believe I listened to this and liked it because it sounds rough compared to where they were
Yeah.
when I started to really like them. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's crazy to think like the same thing with Fall Out Boy on their first album. Like they all have such a different sound, and it sounds so much like it's crazy to go back and look at it and be like, man, I remember sitting in my car, putting the CD on for the first time and being like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. And then listening to it now, it's like, really? I thought that?
Like, it's still pretty good.
Right. It's more of the nostalgia listen at that point, I think, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, back on topic. Um,
Yeah, I mean, especially real quick, like just for Dance Gavin Dance,
mm,
John Mess has improved so
oh,
much
absolutely.
from the early days. Where like going back and listening to the early albums, it's like, ooh man, is this even the same
Yeah,
guy?
really? He sounded like this and he thought this was good? Oh, all right. And I think the key takeaway from that is it might have been there first, but it was a spin off from a completely different sound. So to know like that's all that was there for that point, it was like, oh, but wait, they're trying to play off of this, and this, which is at the tail end of a different genre in a different year. So that like that's another reason too. Like it might be that first step in a new direction. So like we're watching them kind of trip over their own 2 feet.
Yeah,
But yeah, hey, back to I want to try to say his name as I think it might be. I think it would be Jakub Zytecki.
yeah, probably. I just Americanized it real
Hey,
hard.
I think that'd probably be the best way you could have done it, and I'm just going off of that because I'm grew up around a whole bunch of Polish people, so I assume that's how they would say it. I'm basing that off of just that alone, and I could be very, very wrong, and if I am, I'm sorry. But yeah, that was Jakub Zytecki with Heart, and I think that was great. I think that was a great introduction. I think, like you said before, being as like a hey, I need something different, and this being the suggestion, I think that would be my closing thought is that it is a great choice because I'm definitely interested in hearing more of his instrumental stuff, and I'm also kind of curious what his lyrical things will sound like as well.
Yeah, I would highly recommend just checking all of it out. I'm hoping that this year maybe he'll put out some new stuff. He's been featuring on some tracks lately from other artists that I haven't checked out yet, but we'll definitely be interested in doing so.
Yeah, maybe he's getting the itch to put something out, or maybe he's just trying to feel some things out before he puts something out. Because that to me, if you're kind of toe in the water, you know what I mean? It's like, hey guys, I'm coming out with something soon. Pay attention to me. Don't forget.
Yep. All right, and I think that's going to about do it for this episode of The Feedback. That was Wait by, I'm just doing the American version, Jakub Zytecki. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I believe you enjoyed it, right, Steven?
Oh, I'm a big fan of that, for sure. I will definitely be checking out more of that, and I'm definitely going to be putting it on today, once we're done here, honestly.
Hell yeah. All right, well, to everyone who listened, thank you very much. I'm sure at some point when this comes out, we'll have a social media presence. Like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, that's the big one. Right
word
there.
of mouth is the best way to spread news of anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like, hey, I listened to this podcast. I thought it was pretty cool, or this, whatever you call it, wherever you call it on your streaming site.
Yeah, the sting. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I enjoyed the sting. Listen to the sting.
If you think, because that just ties back, into what you were doing before at the beginning of the show, right? We like to share music. Well, share this too, right?
Hey folks, Scoobs here. So back when Steven and I started this project, we didn't really think ahead to things like social media plugs and all that. So now that we're a few months in and we're going back to our older stuff to start posting it, we have some pre-recorded stuff to stick in there for our social medias. And here it is. This is Future Mike talking about it, and now we're going to pass it to Future Steven. Take it away.
That's right, because important long-winded information and ADHD don't mix. But I hope if you've made it to this point, you like what Scoobs and I are doing, and hopefully you like it so much you want to shout it from the top of a mountain. But it would be a whole lot more helpful if you told your friends about us instead. Word of mouth or listening with someone is our favorite, but social media is also great, and you can interact with us there too. So please come by our Instagram, Blue Sky, or Facebook, where you can find us as The Feedback, or on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter /X, at @thefeedback_PC, to see what's coming next, suggest a song, talk about our latest episode, or just talk about anything.
That's right.
There we go. We got it. We got the tagline. We got it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and yeah, we'll see what we dig up next time.
See you soon.
Goodbye. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Thanks, post editing.
Yeah, that's it.
Note to me.
Note to self, remove this section.
Yeah.
Good as time as any to cough then.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That clap is a good signal. Too bad I talked shit after the clap. Anyways.